Welcome to Lift Where You Stand, a podcast for homeschool moms learning to build real confidence, not from having it all together, but a God confidence that meets you right where you are. I'm your host, Marcy Lovelace, and if your homeschool feels a little messy, loud, or uncertain today, you are in the right place. You don't need a different life to feel more confident. You just need a different way to stand in the one you already have. I've been there. I see you. And I'm here to lift you where you stand. Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing today? Hope everyone's good. Their school year's starting off great. Today, we are going to talk about this question that I get quite often and one that I was always asking other homeschooling moms when I first started. Okay. And that question is, what should a homeschool day look like? What should a homeschool day look like? Oh man, if we could just have a handbook that just says open to page 1 and do X, Y, and Z, that would be fantastic. But unfortunately, that is not the way it works. I was oblivious on what a homeschool should look like or could look like. I am a very visual learner, so I asked a lot of other moms their schedules and rhythms in their homeschool. And this question is really a question on top of a million other questions that we are trying to answer as we navigate this new world of homeschooling. And it's from, am I doing enough? How many hours should we be doing school? Should my kids be sitting at a desk? What subjects should happen every day? What if our day doesn't look like someone else's? And I know these questions because I asked them plus 100 more. Okay. When we first started homeschooling, you guys, I was oblivious to any reason why I should be homeschooling other than the fact that God asked me to do it. I wasn't super excited about all of it. I am a kind of person that I'm always up for a challenge, and when I go into a challenge, I'm all in. But this challenge, I was terrified. I was scared of the unknown. I was slightly terrified with being with my 5 boys all day long. I don't think anything could have prepared me for the journey that I was about to enter. And here's what I have learned about the question of what should a homeschool day look like. When we first started homeschooling, I turned our office into our schoolroom. I even had a cute old street sign put on the wall that said school. Each child had their desk, their own pencils, their scissors. Like I said, I am a very visual learner, and my little girl self, when we used to play school in my basement, was coming out. And so I recreated the structure I knew because that was the only model that I had in my head. And I remember playing school with my brothers when I was growing up, and this was almost the equivalent in my mind. I'm like, okay, yeah, I've got this. I didn't call roll though. That was one thing we didn't call roll. But every day, week after week, we went through each subject, we checked off the check marks, and I rotated between each child, all while wondering if I really had what it took to be able to educate my children. And as I think back on this time, that 4-walled room that we spent so many hours in, I'll be honest, a part of me cringes. And it's easy to look at where we were and really be our own worst critic. And it's easy to think that we messed up or did something wrong. But where do these thoughts get us? They don't help us at all. We can't change the past. We can't argue with reality of what happened. And every decision that I made was the best decision that I could with the knowledge that I had. And it led me to the homeschooling mom that I am today. So now I look back at that mom with admiration. She was brave. She had no idea what she was doing. She walked into something completely unknown and she figured it out, and she did amazing with the knowledge that she had. Okay, know this. You are not going to be perfect, and your homeschool will probably look different in 5 years than as it does now as you learn and grow. So what should a homeschool day look like? First off, I don't even love the word should because that doesn't accurately describe what a homeschool day looks like. There isn't one perfect example of a homeschool day. I don't know of 2 homeschools that look the exact same. So what it should look like is very subjective. However, I can give you a glimpse, and I want to give you a glimpse into what our homeschool actually looks like, not because I think you should copy it, but because sometimes hearing what another family does helps us realize how many ways homeschooling can work. And after that, I want to give you 4 things to think about as you shape your homeschool day. So, first thing in the morning, depending on if my older kids have classes at 8 a.m., we start at usually between 7:30 or 8, and we gather together as a family and we have a morning devotional, scriptures, teaching moments, check-ins, and there's a variety of things that can happen, and it usually is around 30 minutes. We then do math when my boys' minds are fresh and ready, and I really don't time them. We just do it, and when they're done, they're done. This could be 20 minutes, and some days it's 40 minutes, depending on how they're feeling. After this, we do some kind of writing or reading, copywork, geography, and this looks different every single day. Again, this is the routine that my family is in now. This looked very different from when I first started. Some days, my boys go and learn about an individual and write about them, and then we come back together to discuss what they learned. Other days, we copy a poem during this time or something worth saving, or we learn about a country and do a blank notebooking page. The possibilities here are absolutely endless. We work on memorizing during this time. We memorized the Gettysburg Address last year, and it was so fun. We then do our book read aloud. And I usually read from 2 different books for an hour, sometimes even more than that. And this is full of discussion as well. So following our read aloud, we do our personal reading, and I usually help my youngest and have him read aloud to me and with me. So I am right there along with him and helping to decode different words and talk about comprehension and what he's understanding. Lunch then happens next, and then after that follows, we usually do a science in our co-op. So there's a few things that my boys work on their own during times when I either have to take care of something or I'm taking care of our youngest daughter. So they do work on foreign language or typing. There's different specialty classes that some of my boys are taking. And all of this happens all over our house. For read alouds, my boys choose where they want to go. They sometimes choose outside or inside, sometimes around all of their bedrooms so that they can clean their rooms. It looks different every single day. Now, having said that, this year our routine is going to look a little different, only in that my teenagers are not taking any outside classes. So, my 2 oldest teenagers. So we are going to do our read aloud and discussion time first thing in the morning when I have them home. So even for us, each year our homeschool looks a little bit different depending on the circumstances that we are facing that year. Okay. Now that I've given you a little bit of a glimpse of what our homeschool looks like, I want to give you 4 questions to ask yourself that's going to help you create your homeschool and what it can look like. Okay. Each of these are important in helping you to discover what your homeschool can look like. Okay. Number 1, does your day make room for connection? Okay, this is really important. Am I actually with my children? Are they involved? Is there laughter and love happening? Okay, that's really important. That's the first question, connection. Does your day make room for mind learning and heart learning? Are we growing in knowledge and skills and curiosity and understanding? And are you doing something each day to touch the hearts of your children? Okay. Does your day make room for work? Are my children learning how to contribute and do hard things? And this is becoming kind of a lost art nowadays because we have become such an efficient people that there's lots of times very little maintenance in people's yards, or the yards are so small that they don't take much time. And you live in a city, so there's not a lot of outside work to do. So this one, you kind of have to be intentional if you live in a place where there's not a lot of work to be done per se. So make sure that you're taking time to teach your children how to work. So everyone has a home, everyone has bathrooms to be cleaned, Everyone has kitchens and dinner, like all of that, they contribute to the family life. Okay, the fourth one is, does your day make room for life? We should not stop living just to start school. Okay, are we actually living rather than postponing life until after school? This was a really hard for me at first when I first started. Each interruption from little kids was very frustrating to me. Um, or if I needed to take a child to a doctor's appointment or making sure dinner is on, or taking just 15 minutes to clean up the house. So, life is all about learning, and a lot of the greatest lessons that your children are going to get from you is life and learning how to live that life to its fullest. All of these things are natural teachers in the real world that we call life. Okay, so one thing to remember and give yourself permission is that learning doesn't have to happen at a desk in a schoolroom. I love the image of Abraham Lincoln reading and writing by the fire at night. He would take charred wood and write on other slabs of wood and practice his writing. Not your typical learning, but it wasn't the place that helped him to learn. It was his heart and mind open to learn. And he was hungry for it. Okay. Math might happen at the kitchen table. History might happen on a field trip. Science might happen in the backyard. Writing might happen at the library. Okay. Entrepreneurship is such a great thing as well. And that might happen because your son starts a business and that's all encompassing. There's so many subjects that you can learn from starting a business. Okay. Art might happen at the kitchen counter. Okay. Or outside on the sidewalk. Learning might happen while you're driving somewhere. There's been so many times that we go on a field trip and we live a little bit further away from places and we practice multiplication in the car, or we listen to a book, or we discuss important topics, okay? And your child asks a question, and that turns into a 45-minute conversation. We need to be able to be open for this type of learning, okay? I also used to think a good homeschool day was one where we completed everything on my list. I remember talking with a seasoned homeschooler and telling her how we do all the things every single day and that I was hoping that I wasn't ruining my children. And I just knew if I followed what the experts said, that our homeschool would be a success. And this sweet mom, I can still see her smile. And she just said, Marcy, you are doing a lot more than a lot of homeschooling moms. Your kids are going to be fine. But now, as I look at that moment, I realize that she was just being nice. What she should have said is, Marcy, you need to chill. You don't need to accomplish everything every day. Every check mark doesn't need to be marked. Learning happens naturally, and sometimes less is more. And just because you are checking off the box doesn't mean that your child is learning and getting an education. It just makes you feel like you are in control and accomplishing all of the things. Okay, but in reality, my friends, the thing I didn't realize for so many years was that the experts didn't know my children and what was best for them. And when they had a hard day, and when I needed to close that book and make connections instead of having them do another page. Okay. Now, a good homeschool day is one where the things that matter actually happened. So maybe you didn't finish every worksheet, but your child read a great book. Maybe you had a day where you didn't get in science, but you spent 2 hours building something together. Maybe that math lesson was a complete disaster, but you recognize that your child needed connection before correction. Maybe you left the house because everyone needed a change of scenery and the museum became your classroom. And sometimes, yes, a good homeschool day looks like just sitting at the table and doing math and grammar. Okay. The point is on all of this, I'm not telling you to completely and utterly reject the structure. I need structure, and structure is really good for our kids. The point is to stop confusing structure with education. Your homeschool doesn't need to look like mine. Don't take the pictures of other homeschools today and use it as a measuring stick against your homeschool today. Okay? Because if you're looking at what mine looks like today, you're looking at 12 years of experience. You're not looking at the first year. And trust me, if we had a lens into the past, you would be feeling pretty good about yourself right now if you were looking at my homeschool 12 years ago. So whether you are 3 weeks in or 3 years in, you are on a beautiful journey that is yours. And if you have a schoolroom and that makes sense for you right now, then do it. And that is okay. But also remember, one of the beautiful gifts God gives us is that we don't have to learn everything the hard way. We can learn from the experience of people who have gone on before us. But learning from someone else's experience doesn't mean recreating their experience. Okay? It just means taking wisdom and then asking God, what does this mean for me? What does my family need in this season? And take what works for your homeschool and leave the rest. And trust God that He's going to give you line upon line as you are ready. You are on a beautifully hard journey. And I want to be here to help you and walk beside you and walk with you and lift where you stand. Okay, that's it for today. Go be with your family. And remember, life is good. I'll see you next week. If something in this podcast resonated with you, I would absolutely love it if you could like and subscribe and share with other moms that could use it. If you want to go deeper and find out how you can get more support from me, check out my website, upliftingmayhem.com/lift. You are not meant to walk this journey alone. What's the worst that could happen? You might find out what I have to offer doesn't match what you are looking for. But what is the best that could happen? This could be a turning point for your homeschool, and I am ready to help you get there.